Hello folks, welcome back to VCV Rack Instruments and Effects. I'm your host, Dr. Lawrence W. Moore of the Wayfarer Project. And in this episode, we're continuing a little bit along the lines of what I've been doing lately, ever since Luis, one of the viewers, asked me about trying to achieve some of the functionality of the Rebirth RB338. And basically that ability to kind of like use your keyboard and use a finger, press a key, either generate bass line plus drums, or maybe just drums and then play the bass line, or basically these types of things where you can kind of get some rhythm and motion going through the ease of just playing like a single note or some bass lines on your keyboard. And then I came across a sequencer in a set of modules under the brand name of mscHack, and it's a accent sequencer, and I thought, well, I should do an episode on this because this is actually a pretty cool sequencer. There's a number of other modules in that brand's library that are pretty cool, and so I thought I want to show this, and I released a short recently, kind of like playing something out of it that I made, and a lot of people like that. So anyway, what I'm going to do is show you a little bit about it, then we'll roll the theme and build it together. But let's take a look at what I made right here. Okay, I turned down the volume here, but basically what we're going to hear is a sequence being generated by this sequencer right here. I have it playing a percussion module. Both of these modules are from mscHack, and so is this clock generator here. And as you see, this is an accent sequencer where you can actually have different levels of intensity of the output that goes to some sound producing module, and you can have that going into the level input or some sort of amplitude input on the module, or its envelope if you have it connected to an envelope, and basically get intensity variation. Last time we worked with a sequencer that didn't have that. It was just basically trigger sequencer. Well, it was gate outputs, but basically it was either on or off, so you only got one level of intensity. The same module set, mscHack, has this mixer here. And so I have things going into that, and I have some aux sends from the mixer going into a delay here. I also added a bass here, a bass sound. Well, I intended it to be a bass, but it's really more like a lead. And it's going through another delay from mscHack, and gets enveloped, and then it goes in. And then right in here, I squeezed in a wind sound generator from mscHack. So yeah, what I'm going to do later on the episode is I'm going to build things, put it together, but we'll focus mostly on the sequencer, the percussion, and maybe some delay to get a cool rhythm going. But just before we get into making that, just in case you're interested in seeing like where we can go with this, turn up the volume. Okay, and now I'm going to play that lead sound a little bit. right, so there we go. So what I'm going to do is basically we'll roll the theme song as we often do, and then get right into building this from scratch so you can see how the different components fit together. It may not be the exact same thing, and we'll just see how it goes. And main thing is to kind of check out this sequencer and how to make some cool patterns with it and use those accents to your benefit. And you can see how you might incorporate that into your own work. All right, here we go. Alrighty, so here we are, and what I'm going to do, save this real quick, and I'm going to go to File and New. All right, now before anything else, I'm going to save this where I want it to be, and then we can go. All right, so this is episode 5B, I'll call it for now. That's, yeah, just get that done. All right, first things first, before I forget, I am going to change my MIDI input here to monophonic. I think when I saved this default patch, I had it polyphonic, but these modules are monophonic, and if we use any of the gating from the MIDI in, it's going to be important that it be monophonic. Okay, so first I'm going to right click, mscHack. What I'm going to do to make it a little bit easier, it's kind of funny. Most of them are alphabetic, in alphabetic order. But here, the mscHack, it kind of gets put at the bottom for some reason. But there you see, mscHack. There's nothing illegal about this kind of hack, though. Okay? It's just the name. All right, so we're going to need a clock generator. And then, of course, I could also just search, just type SEQ for sequencer, and it happens to be one here. There's a theme to it, you know, kind of a cool color scheme. And that's pretty nice. It's nice. All right, and I'm going to put in the percussion module, which actually, let me just scroll down here. It has a bunch of different modules. I think we're going to focus on the sequencer, the percussion module, and and some of the delays, because I found that this is great stuff for making some ambient grooves. And I'll be doing more episodes on ambient music making and everything, but I think right now getting a cool ambient groove like I just demonstrated for you would be of interest to a lot of people, so let's give this a shot. All right, so our clock generator, let's take a look at it. We have our BPM, and you know, you can right click on it, type it in, you know, right click on the dial. This LED is just display. There's a stop button here. Since it's not, you know, by default, it's not red, not checked. It is running when you load it up. And there's a global sync that you can establish here. And there's a humanize knob. I tried that before. I didn't hear much of a difference, but we could try it again and we'll see. So your outputs here, you got sync triggers and you got clock. Our input over here, and there's one per each channel, but you could just put them in the top one here, the top clock input, if you are going to have them all running at the same tempo. And once again, this allows you to divide here. So like if I put in a 2 here, it'll be 2 times the rate of the BPM being generated by the clock outputs here, 3 times. Or you could put in, as you see, it's centered here. So if you go into negative territory, you see it highlights it red, and that means it's like a third as opposed to 3 times. So let me reset that. Oh, you can actually, oh, that's neat. I didn't right click on these before, but yeah, it gives you your different divisions, and one right there in the middle would be the same as the BPM. So anyway, let's take our purple. I like to use purple for clock and timing things. So now this input is running, and you can see that green indicator shows you what step you are on. Okay, I'm going to turn it off. I'd like to kind of set up a sequence without it running. Otherwise, you kind of hear it as you go if you hook up the sound devices. Just a little bit more about this display here. I'll zoom in a little bit more. We have our clock input, and I haven't really played with this too much, but this is apparently a pattern input. Basically, this strip here of 32 steps is in this pattern program slot here. And then you have a second one and a third. And I think this is about 16. 16 times 32. Boy, you got a lot of measures. You could compose an entire piece of music here. And of course, the patterns are selectable by CV input. If you send like a numeric value, you can switch to 1 through 16 of your pattern inputs. I haven't really done that yet because 32 steps is enough for what I was doing, and so forth. But and then here, yeah, this is a trigger pattern input, it says. So I haven't played with that. The way it sounds to me is, you can hit a trigger and go to the next pattern. Although I haven't tested it out, I'm thinking that. I did try to download a manual for these. There is a GitHub page, but I didn't see a manual download like a lot of the modules. But maybe that GitHub page I need to explore more and so forth. But I like to learn by doing in many ways. And you have a copy here. It looks like a toggle switch, but really you click that, you've copied your 32 steps and whatever pattern you put in there. And yeah, and you can randomize it if you just want to fill them up quick and just see what you get. In fact, why don't we try that? Well, it may not be something that sounds, we could clear it right away if we don't like it. So, as you see here, we got squares, and this green indicator light of what step you're on will fill in the squares. Now, I'm looking at these, and okay, there's one that's lower intensity. Basically, the color shows you the intensity, and you have 5. Like if I click here, one click gives me intensity level 1, 2 clicks, level 2, 3, level 3, and then 4, 5. So some of the colors may be hard to tell the difference. You really just got to count your clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess after a while you get used to it. It's you get to know them by sight, I guess. And here's the intensity level controls. 5 of them. And you can see the color coding here. So that way you can kind of set how intense those 5 intensity levels are. I've been fine with the default settings. You see this one is, the second one is a little bit higher than the first, the third like half the way up, because it's halfway between 1 and 5. And then you get further up and then nearly all the way up over here. And this CV out basically outputs your level. And you have a trigger here when the step is reached. So it works well with its own three oscillator percussion set here. And they have basically a voltage input where you can send pitch. In fact, are these are these the ones? Yeah, this is the one. Because there's a few of them. Hold on, let me see. Let me make sure I got the right oscillator set here. I just got to double check that because there's a couple that are like that. And I want to make sure I'm using the one for percussion. You know, basically last night I played with this all, spent a few hours and jammed, made that patch that you just heard. And I just want to make sure, I am still fairly new to, wait a minute, I think this is the one we wanted. 3-channel synth drums. There we go. They're both 3 channels. And that's where the confusion came in. This is the one. When I saw that 1 volt per octave input there, I was like, wait a second. That may not be, this is not the droids you're looking for. These are not the oscillators I'm looking for. That's right, it's level input and trigger input, just like what we have here as outputs. So trigger, I like to color code that green. We go in there, and wait a minute, and yes, CV, color code that yellow, and that's our level input. Because a CV basically gives you one of these 5 intensities based on your settings of these dials and what you select as the intensity for each step. Now, what I'm going to do to mix this is use their mixer. So I can show that a little bit. There's actually 3 different ones. There's a 9-channel mixer. That's 8 plus 1. A 16-channel and a 24-channel. Don't know why it's a 9-channel instead of an 8, but I'm not going to be upset about an extra channel. Doesn't need to be even numbers for me. So I'm going to take the output here, red for audio, and I'm going to put it into the left input here. It takes stereo. You see left to right inputs. And if you plug in both, you basically have a stereo input. It'll be a mono input if you only plug in left. And then, of course, you have a pan control down here. You have a level control down here. These are group assignments. This means main mix. And then you have 3 groups, 3 subgroups that you can send out to. And they are here. Wait a minute. No, those are the aux heads. They are here. 1, 2, 3. Here's channel 9. Yeah, there's 8 channels plus 9. 9's not special. It's just a regular channel. And then here's your 3 group channel strips. And then here's your 4 aux sends and returns. Each channel has 4 auxes. And your auxes, you don't need to use 2 in order to get stereo sends, because your sends are stereo here on 1, 2, 3, and 4. If stereo sends and returns. And if you just plug it in mono, meaning left, it'll function as a mono send and return. So we'll hook up the delay later for that. But now I plugged in there to channel 1. Let's turn up the level. Just to make sure we don't get blasted. Well, I could initialize you. And then just use the slider here to make sure we don't get blasted. I do recommend you hear this on headphones or good speakers. A built-in speaker on a cell phone will probably not carry some of the frequencies that we're going to play. There's going to be some sub-audio frequencies, or at least I like to use a low tone for this demonstration. There may be other things like spatial things later when we do the delays. That'll be stereo events happening that if you have built-in speakers on your computer or a cell phone, they might be too close together to hear the stereo spectrum. So, all right, looks like we might be good there. So we can start. Okay, we're hearing snaps, depending on your speakers. Like if you're using headphones, you'll hear them, but the reason why is because of these dials here. These are tones. As you see, you have a sine, a triangle, a square, sawtooth, and noise. But it has an envelope on it that makes it really lend itself well for percussion. You have a frequency dial. You have a hit, which is not really attack time. It kind of is, but kind of isn't. It also gauges a pitch bend on the sound, and then release. What we need to do is turn up release. I like this low tone. The thing is, if you're, once again, if you're listening to this on speakers that don't carry this frequency, you may not be hearing it. Okay? But it sounds so cool that I don't want to have to turn up the frequency just to accommodate. I mean, just put on the headphones, please. Okay, there we go. We're going to hook up track 2. Same way. And then what I'll do is I'll pitch shift this. I'm going to make its release about the same. And so we're hearing a sine tone there, but it's giving it an attack on it that is sounding like, you know, a percussive hit, like a synth drum, a synth kick. Let's put a random splattering of stuff in here. We're on channel 2, indeed. Where's that rand? There it is. Okay, so let's hear this. We got to plug it in to channel 2 on the mixer. All right, and then we're going to turn it up. Now, it's the same tone since the dial's all the way down. It's the same as this one. So in order to differentiate it, let's pitch it up. I'm not hearing another tone just yet. Let me make sure I hook this up right. Our level is going into level, and trig is going into trigger. You see it triggering, and we see the levels flashing. So this is being sent levels. Our output is going into channel 2 here. Did I raise the fader of channel 2? I did. I could turn up channel 1 a little bit. I was just being safe there. Turn it down a little bit more. But now channel 2, why are we not getting... I don't see audio flashing here. We're getting triggers in. We're getting level in. And we are on the correct track here. As you see, the cursors are all lined up, the time cursors, and they are playing these events. I'm going to have to pause the video and troubleshoot this a little bit. Okay, yeah. If you look at this here, I have the cables plugged in wrong here, so just so I don't have to drag a new cable, I'm going to switch these. I had CV plugged into Trig and Trig plugged into CV. Okay. So now that's fixed, we can hear our second tone. Let's tune it. I like that. When they line up, they kind of have a... All right, so let's do a third. I'm going to do another tone, in fact, just for the heck of it. And once again, this is CD here, yellow. And trigger, green. There we go. We'll hook up the channel. That goes to input 3. And then I am going to hit the random button over here. Oh, that's on the one I already did, but that's okay. Random is as random does. Okay, let's turn up the release time on this one. And I need to do the fader on the track here. We do have also mute and solo buttons right above that signal indicator, those two squares. All right, now we could try out some other waveforms here. Ooh. Gotta turn that one down if it's a square wave. That's a little bit intense there. You can adjust the release time. Sounds better on the sine tones, maybe triangles. Now, you know, the frequency dial here also does have a frequency input. So you could play keys into them and basically have them be tuned. Let's just experiment with that a little bit here. Now, technically you would have to do all three, I believe. So this should be a frequency offset. I'm going to hit a different key on the keyboard. Now, one thing I've noticed about all the modules in this kit, their frequency values are different than the VCV modules and just about every other module that I've downloaded so far for the community library. they seem to be lower in pitch, and you got to shift over octaves. I'm just playing all sorts of keys here. All right, I'm going to disconnect that. I was just showing it to you. Now, we also have the ability here, because we have noise, to make kind of like snare and cymbal hits. So that's this one here. Turn that down a bit. And then this one, let me make this a longer hit. Now its fader is down. And I'm going to pan them slightly apart, a little left. So I'm trying to make this more like snare, and this more like a cymbal. It rings out longer. Alrighty, so now let's add a little bit of delay to this. There's two delays. There is a step delay and a ping pong delay. And the step delay basically gives you 4 iterations that you have some control over the parameters of those 4 delayed events. And then ping pong, kind of like it sounds. So I'm going to put that in. Zoom out here a little bit. Let's pop you in next to the mixer, and I'm going to put it in as a aux send. So here, these are the sends, and these are the returns. So these go out. This is a stereo delay. So I'm going to do red for audio. And we're going to go into the left input there. And this will be the right input. So we're sending to the delay. And then we take the delay's output back into, wrong color, into the return. And here we go. Now, what we need to do is turn up the send. Like, let's say we want to do this with, we're on aux send 1, so that's the reddish colored ones here. So let's just put these up to like a 12 o'clock position, see what we get. So that's how much of the snare and cymbal is being sent to the delay. And you have an option up here. This little box below the aux sends is pre or post fader. So if you want the level to be full level without this fader affecting how much is being sent out, you check this off. And that way the level of the send ends up being controlled just by the level of the send that you put here. So it's really controlling it from one place, and you know, I kind of like that to actually have the send be controlled just from there. Now we're returning it here, so we need to turn up the fader. Okay, and we also need to turn up the master. This is the master for the aux1 send. There we go. We see the signal coming in. Now let's turn up our delay time and our mix level. Well, let's just turn the mix up to be about 50-50. Or actually, turn it up all the way. Because the dry is going to be coming through the channel to the master out. And the wet will be coming from the aux to the master out. So we can balance wet and dry using these. The amount of send, and then I'll just turn this all the way up. If overall we want to turn the delayed portion on all sounds down, we use the master fader here of the aux return. Alrighty, so let's see here. Our mix is all the way up, so let's just increase our delay time. Now, while you move the dial, you're going to hear a little bit more wackiness than. Now, once again, if you're using headphones or at least speakers that are spaced apart, you'll be able to hear more of the effect here. Now, that is left delay, and that's why I'm hearing in my headphones more of the left side delay. And if you keep these slightly apart, you can kind of hear the ping-ponging. This is really delay time, but you're setting a different time to the left than the right, unless you line them up exactly, in which case it won't sound very ping-pongy. There we go. Now, maybe we'll add a little bit of the kick into that. No, actually it doesn't sound as good through that. But maybe for the kick we'll use the other delay. Let's go down here, and this is our step delay. Kick doesn't sound right going left, right, ping-ponging. All right, and so we'll use aux send 2. The sends are below the return. Okay. Left, in, right, in, and then the outputs go into the returns up here. I like my color codings. Red for audio. Alrighty, and oh, that's right, the returns are up here. I'm just accustomed to, like on my mixers, usually the sends are at the top and the returns are further down. Alrighty, so that is aux 2. Let's turn that up for the kick. There we go. And we need to turn up the fader here. And then we'll check the settings on the delay itself. Oh, the master send here. Alrighty, let's see here. We might as well turn our mix all the way up. Let me see if we're getting signal here. Now this is just on the kick. Turned up here. Channel 1 is the kick. We're turned up here at the send. Let's just check these. Yeah, look, the delay time is off here. So we can say the first delay will be, you know what? Let's just have some fun. We could right click on this and go to randomize, and we'll get all sorts of randomized settings. But yeah, these are like bar, half, eighth. Let's make this 16th. Now, if you want these to, yeah, we're getting some signal there. But we also need to check our delay times. Yeah, that looks about right. Feedback. Turn this up a little bit. We have a filter here, although on this kick, it's pretty much a sine pulse. So filtering it is not going to be such a great idea. Now we could take our beat. It says beat here instead of clock, but basically you could hook this up to the clock, of which there are 4 here. So there we go. So our steps should be going off. Yeah, it looks kind of light. Let me turn up the knob here. Aux 2. Turn that up. I'm not hearing any delay on the kick yet. And after the dry kick sound, we're seeing pretty low levels here. I was using this. Well, we could turn the mix up. I'm hearing some snaps. The filter is off. Oh no, bandpass. We might be filtering out the kick. See if we can find off. There we go. All right. I'm going to want to change these settings here. Or, let me think here. Instead of a whole bar later, let's make it a shorter time interval. Let's make this an eighth. Eighth. Yeah, it's just sounding like a long, low wash. Maybe the kick itself is a little too long. Another thing we can do is make it faster. Take this and make it times 2. Yeah, the initial snap on that kick doesn't sound so hot. Now here, the hit knob, I didn't show this yet. Yeah, adds a bit of a pitch bend. Now it's too short for us to hear the whole bend. So let me lengthen it there. I like it kind of like that. Although, let's get rid of that decay. Sorry. Well, I demonstrated it, you know, but I just don't like it. So I'm going to initialize the send fader. Don't have to do this. Nothing's going through it. It's just I like to, you know, just like with physical mixers, I like to zero out things I'm not using. There we go. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is you have BPM input here. You have a chain out, so you could chain these. But there isn't a reset input. So your clock is just clicking on independently. I mean, you could sync it with some other clock source, but there's no reset input. So if I wanted to play this rhythm by pressing down a key on the keyboard, I can't do it with this clock. So what I'm going to do, let's stop the beat. Take that out. Let's zoom out here, and since it deleting the module got rid of that space. Slide this over. I'm going to put in our good old friend, my favorite clock. I just thought, since I'm showing things from mscHack, I'd use their clock. Here one. Here we go. This is our buddy from Sickovel. So far, I believe it's my favorite clock generator. So I'm going to take the gate out and hook it up to run. We are on monophonic, so when I hit a key on the keyboard, it turns on and off. If you're not in monophonic mode, the gate will cycle around every 4 clicks, because this is monophonic, and if you're polyphonic over here, there's a way around that using the merge module that you can merge like your polyphonic gate into one, but you know, that's extra legwork. But right now we don't need to worry about it. I just wanted to point that out because that caught me out before. We'll take our clock output, hook it up here. Now, all right, so we're getting our beat. And if I remember correctly, there's a reset down here. And we could put it right on our gate. So when I hit the key, well, let's look for it here. We'll see if the cursor comes to beginning. Yep, it resets back to the beginning. Oh, and it stops. Oh, that's because the run is off. Now I'm holding down the key. Rhythm's playing. Release the key. Ah, no, it doesn't. Okay, so that is something I'm going to have to leave on. Isn't there a reset? I thought for sure there was a reset on this because I've used this. Yeah, there it is. Right below its button. Yeah, use the reset. So now we can have this on. And basically we reset anytime we hit a key. But we still hear the beat. I would like to press a key and hear the beat, and then release a key and not hear the beat. So how do we do that? Well, we got our main outs here. We can run that through a sub mixer. And if we want to stay in the same theme, I believe there's a 4-channel mixer here. And that, I believe, is this guy right here. So we're going to hook these outputs up here. The inputs on our 4-channel, oh, no, I didn't mean that. Our outputs into the inputs on our 4-channel mixer. And then we have level inputs right here that we could hook up to our gate. Over here. Gate's going to get crowded. Unless those are audio outputs, but yeah, there's no level control for the master fader of this mixer. Yeah, and it is a 4-channel, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are groups. Is it 4 channels and 4 groups? No, these are accents, 4 accents and returns. Okay. So yeah, the level on the individual channels is the way we can kind of open and close the gate, or use the gate to open and close the sound of the beat. So that we could trigger it with a key. Now, if you just want to play the sequence like we were doing before, and actually in my example, I don't have it controlled like this, but I want to see if we can do this. And I believe we can. Okay, so I'm going to press a key. Nothing. Release the key. Maybe because the faders are down. Let me turn them up. Now I'm going to press the key. There we go. Now release it. And let's make sure that when I press it again, we are back at the beginning of the sequence. I'm actually going to speed this up. Now, if you want an ambient groove, that's more like what we were just playing. But yeah, and of course I've just been going with a random set on these. But speed, I mean, you could turn up the dial there, but you can also do double time here. This is just like the other module where you, what am I doing? That's the wrong thing. Oh, I think you right click on it. Can't I just type? Nope, you can't just type. This dial also works. There we go. Let's put it back to the other one, because if we want like a nice little ambient groove, but let's get a better yeah, I'm gonna put one in. Let's do this. 1, 1, 2. Oh, let's stop it. Okay. 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that there's like a bit of a blank section before the next beat on these that sometimes can kind of throw you off. because it looks at the same color as a normal step slot. But yeah, so this is like 4 steps, divider, 4 more steps, and you can see it because of the arrows above. These arrows are just pointing out where the steps are. So let's leave that alone and do the next 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, up, 4, and then that looks like a 5 already. Take that out. Take this one out. This was a pattern that I did on the other one that I kind of liked, so I'm going to try it again. Better in these examples, I'm kind of just demonstrating things, but it's nice if I achieve a good sounding result too. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait a minute. I got off. Hold on here. Let's clear these. I should just pause, but I'm almost done. Don't worry. This is going to be all right. It's going to be all right. That is a slot there. It's hard to tell where these dividers are. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Space. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Turn you off. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'll be the end. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to press a key. What? Oh, I turned off the run button. Oh, you get the first step if you don't have the run button on. Just got to keep hitting the random button here until it sounds better. Pretty cool. Now I have 3 more lanes. Could put in another one of these or use other modules. But the idea is that, yeah, you can use this as a sequencer. Now, if you're not doing ambient, you're doing something that isn't as laid back and stuff, you can do what I did before and speed up the rhythm here. Now, our ping pong delay will probably get in the way a little bit. It does have a sync input, and if I connect that up to the same division, I'm going to double the beat here. If I connect it up to the same one, well, or basically put this is on 2, let's put this on 2, so they're getting the same pulse. I'm hearing snaps because I think the got to shorten the release time on the kick. All right, so the accent sequencer and the delay can be, maybe I need to pretty cool stuff. Now, one thing I did in my other example that I showed at first, which whenever I do these things, whatever I do in the tutorial never sounds as good as the one I worked hours on to make, you know, of course. I put wind in it. There's 3 cool modules down here. Windz, Aliens. This one's a little harsh for ambient. You could try that on your own. It sounds like some sort of weird, like the movie Signs, like radio crackling that's kind of alien-esque, and you push these buttons to get different versions of that. Alien transmissions, as they call them. And then there's drones. This is real cool. I use that in the other one. So let's call this up and put some wind in. I'm going to put this on channels, I guess 4 and 5. What the heck? No, just 4. Actually, just so it separates it a little bit, I'll put it on channel 5 just so I can, you know, see what's the drums and then what's the wind. And because it's stereo inputs, I can just put it there. Turn this up. Now, it does take, what else? You can randomize the type of wind that you get. It's sorted out based on an algorithm of setting these seeds of random number generations for different aspects of the wind. But yeah, just hitting random here or making your own little glyph or whatever in here is, you know, pretty much the way to go. So anyway, I have that plugged in here to channel 5. I turned up channel 5, but I need to press the key on the keyboard. Get sound. Oh. Let's put some of that into the delay. Now, we were talking about ambient rhythms here. So let's go back to a slower beat division. And for ambient, the lower kick sounds better. So yeah, there's your wind. It's sounding very mono to me. My other one sounded like it had a better spread on it. I'm not sure why. This is a stereo channel. Well, we'll look at the other patch in a bit. But we can add the drone now. And this could be our bass. This has a voltage input, So we're going to hook that up to our keyboard. And we're going to take its outputs. And I'll put it here on 7. It's just easier for me to see when I put a space in between inputs. And then we're going to slowly move this up so I don't blast your ears this time. Now the cool thing about this is, as long as you don't release the key that you're playing when you select a new key, or you left it up afterwards, the sequence will keep going. Now if you raise the key and then hit another one, it resets. So you try to kind of glide your way with a different drone. I'm going to go down an octave here on my keyboard. Is that right? I think I hit it twice. Sorry, I should zoom out when I get into playing there, so we're not just looking at a section of the patch. Now, in the other patch, I put a filter on this and did some other things. Now, in that other patch, I do not have this gate, but I think I'm going to go with that because you know what? Here, let's at least do this. I'm going to open the other patch because it does sound cooler. You know, here was my demonstration of how to hook things up. And of course, you can make your own sequences and everything like that. But let me find my original patch here. I should call it 5A. Here we go. And yeah, the volume's turned down right now. What I need to do with this to make it work the way the other one does is I need to put let me see something. Maybe there's a slicker way of doing this. If I have, let's see, these are group outputs, right? Channel levels for the group outputs. But that's subgrouping. There aren't individual group outputs, are there, on the mixer itself here? It does have something here that says, but it's in some sort of XY coordinates. No, let me just keep it simple here. I'll just take out, U. And yeah, I'm going to hook this audio. If there was just a CV input for the master level, that would be all I need. I could use a different strip here other than this whole mixer, to be honest with you. I could use a Bafaco strip. Now, I just type mix. And there's a Bafaco strip that is a stereo in with a level CV in. Where are you hiding? That channel strip I like to use a lot. Here we are. It'll be a little bit, takes up less space. And okay, so we go left out, left in, right in to the right out, and we are panned to center. Turn the volume up later. I can initialize you because the volume's down here, so no ear blasting. Hook you up. And then what I want to do is have the gate here hooked up to the level input here. Okay, now that will control that, but here I'm using the clock that doesn't have a reset because I do need to have the gate hooked up to the reset. Otherwise, each time you press a key, it won't start at the beginning of the pulse here that's being generated. Like it could be halfway in between beat 1 and 2 or something, and this won't reset. Now I just want to see what this is hooked up to just to make sure I can do the same connections again. Oh, I have a sync out going to looks like, yeah, the sync input of the ping pong delay. Imagine that. Sync to sync rather than clock to sync. And the beat here is hooked up to the clock here. Okay, so I know what I got to do. We'll see if the regular clock pulses will be fine with the delay because the other module doesn't have a separate sync out. I'm going to search for clock. I want the Sickovel clock generator here. Alrighty. Nothing to do there. Except, yeah, the reset goes to the gate here. And then our clock output here goes to, first of all, here. Oh, and while I'm hooking this up, there's a reset here that needs to go to the gate here. All right, and now our clock source is going here. I see, since these are division 1s, I could just use these separate ones. Actually, I could have multiple cables on the clock outlet there, but let's do this. And let's do this. So our delays. We're using both of the delays on this one. And since I gave you a tour of this stuff already, you understand what it is. The only thing different is the drone has two, because it's stereo, I put it through the mono inputs of two of the same cutoff, low pass filters, the RPJs, Butterworth low pass filters, and I have the mod wheel hooked up to their cutoff frequency. This is the amount that this affects the cutoff frequency. You set the base value here, and this is how much you can shift it up with the mod wheel. Here I have an ADSR. That's my envelope for the lead sound right here before it goes into the mixer. The reason why is right here, the gate, like the bass, doesn't turn on until I hit the keyboard, and the keyboard kind of like controls it. Now, I was using it before as just soloing on you know, the sequence that kept going. Now they're going to be locked together. I'm going to use it more like a bass, but this shouldn't. I may have to take that out. We'll see. But the bass sound goes here, so that's where that's being enveloped. Here's the wind coming in. Alrighty, and yeah, I think we could give it a shot now. Okay. Oh, that's right. The octave of these modules is shifted down, so that's why I was using this more like a lead. But basically, when I play the keyboard now is when the sequence comes in. And then when I release the keys, it stops. That's probably not what I want to do with this overall, but basically, I just wanted to revisit this again and show you what I have. But you know what? I am not going to save this because this is a different beast. I was just showing how you can basically use those. Okay, yes, I know I'm going to lose that, but yeah, I want to go back to where it was. But I wanted to show how you could. What was the one I just made? So I just wanted to show you here how you could use this as like a bass. And basically get your beat at the same time. Kind of like that rebirth thing that I did in the last episode. But yeah, in any case, so another sequencer. So I mean, I'm in the series now. I am going to kind of may revisit some of this stuff in the future, but basically what I like to do now is do some more different sound types. I'm pretty much going with what creatively is useful for me in what I want to do. And to be honest with you, I want to call this one back up again. I just like it better. Okay, and so I have the original one again. Just the volume's down. Let's go out on a I'm sorry, I forgot you were there. All right, folks. Anyway, thank you for joining me. If you can do me a favor, please hit that like button. Leave a comment, let you know what you think, and if you have any questions, be sure to try to help you out. Until next time, take care and stay free.